give this a watch.
Because at the end of the day, I think my biggest problem with this game comes down to purpose. And that is there is no purpose to Genshin Impact.
Dad got a credit card deal of 20,000 Singaporean dollars, thanks to his daughter spending it all on Genshin Impact.
I've gone so far as get an email about someone pretending that they have cancer, or even one of their children has cancer. Someone said, "My child has cancer. Their only wish is to get Ganyu." That's just someone faking it, trying to get a character.
To sum it up, Genshin is an amazing game that I can't recommend to anyone.
Exploring a vast world for the first time is a magical experience for a lot of gamers. But for these open world games, it's not just the size of their maps that's huge, it's the cost to make them. While making their own open world role-playing game, the game company called HoYoverse made a huge gamble. They spent over
Great
$100
editing,
million US dollars
or production
to
value,
develop
by the way.
Genshin Impact, only to make it free to play. Genshin Impact is among the most expensive video games to be developed of all time. So if it failed, it might be the end of HoYoverse. What made this gamble even riskier was that before this, HoYoverse only ever made mobile games, but Genshin Impact was being made for mobile and major gaming platforms. But the gamble paid off. In just 2 years since its launch, Genshin Impact made $4 billion. Its achievement was unlike anything the gaming world has seen before, but getting to this level of success wasn't always a smooth road. Before we start, I hope you guys have an absolutely beautiful day. So today we'll be looking at the insane world of Genshin Impact and the craziness of its community. The dangers of Genshin in real life. On September 28th, 2020, Genshin...
Before we proceed, I know this video seems to be split up into chapters, so I will watch each of these chapters in their entireties, and then when they start a new chapter, I'll pause it and I'll drop any thoughts that I have about it, or at least that's what I plan to. If I have like a very urgent thought, I'll just spit it out there immediately.
Genshin Impact was released, quickly rising to the top of every known ranking, downloads, revenue, awards. But in order to stay at the top, the game had to keep things fresh. HoYoverse wasn't just looking to make a splash in the gaming scene, but beyond it as well. So on March 8th...
1 second. Which of the Gacha games do you play that I have installed on my phone to play everywhere, and which one's only on PC? Only on PC. That's easier. That's an easier question to answer, I think. Genshin, Star Rail. Let me think of anything else. Genshin, Star Rail, and Snowbreak. I believe those three are the games that I only have on PC, because those games are best played on PC. Every other game except for Girls Frontline, because I've kind of stopped playing that game now, I have on my phone, except for FGO. FGO is on my tablet. So hopefully that answers your question.
2021, Genshin Impact teamed up with KFC in China for the game's first ever collaboration. Genshin Impact characters dressed up for the occasion, promoting KFC combo meals that came with in-game rewards. During this time, players who bought a special KFC combo meal could redeem an in-game item called the Wings of Feasting. There was no other way of getting this item, so Chinese players went to their local KFC outlets in droves. The event was so successful that it became dangerous. With players overcrowding the KFC stores and a threat to public safety, police needed to get involved and shut down KFC establishments. Many camped outside of KFC stores just to be in the front of the line.
That's Chinese players for you, man. Well, not just Chinese people.
Because the stores
Anybody
were so
would do
crowded,
this, to be
people
honest.
started to commit crimes like stealing character display stands from the store.
Amidst all the chaos, people started stealing Noel cutout. People that were successful in the Noel cutout heist started selling them online.
Just a few months into Genshin Impact's release, it became so popular that crowds at real-world events could not be controlled. So on August 29th, 2022, when Genshin Impact had a new collaboration with Pizza Hut in China, players should have already learned their lesson, right?
Is that true that cops actually shutting down Genshin Impact collaboration event with Pizza Hut? That was the case.
Once again, history repeated itself. Genshin Impact players crowded around the Pizza Hut stores, becoming a danger to themselves and the people around them. Police had to shut down some of the Pizza Hut joints for the same reason as last time: public safety. Even in Genshin Impact events outside of China, there was always new players causing problems.
There was a girl in the Philippines who stole a cardboard cutout of Klee in the Hoyo Fest Cafe collab last December. She openly admitted to stealing it.
But stealing is nothing compared to some of the horrible things some event attendees have done. 200 people had to evacuate a Genshin Impact event in Seoul, Korea, after someone tweeted that they would set off a homemade explosive there. The actions of these Genshin Impact players don't reflect the entire community as a whole, but this is what happens occasionally when a lot of players gather together in real life. Thankfully, from these in-person events, we couldn't find any reports of people ending up with lasting consequences. But that's only the beginning of what crazy Genshin Impact fans are capable of, because as you continue watching this video, some of these stories will make you question just how far they can really go. The corrupt sponsorships. When Genshin Impact teamed up with KFC China...
That's a chapter. So... the toxic world of Genshin Impact. Okay. So the first chapter focused on like the bullshit and the shenanigans that players got up to. Like, yeah, sure. Makes for some good headlines, I guess. But like, it's not just Genshin players that do this, right? Genshin players aren't the only retards under the sun who do shit like steal cardboard cutouts and stuff like that. And like make bomb threats. Like, I don't know. Maybe I'm just so jaded by what I've seen on the internet over my however many fucking years that I've been on here. That things like bomb threats and people fucking stealing cardboard cutouts doesn't really bother me anymore. Perhaps maybe I'm a little too jaded. But I don't know. To me, that's not like, okay, so. Like, I'm gonna be straight up. Like, alright, like, people do this kind of shit all the time. Not just in Genshin, but in plenty of other communities too. Right? And honestly, obviously the bomb threat one was pretty bad. That doesn't surprise me considering it was it was from a Korean. I am ethnic Korean myself. And I know how fucked up Koreans can be. I speak from first-hand experience. So yeah, honestly, that almost doesn't surprise me. Almost. So yeah, like I get that the first chapter is kind of like meant to be an introduction to like this whole toxic world of Genshin Impact thing. This like thesis that they're trying to push, but like so far it's like, okay, like this is shit that other people in other fandoms and other communities have done. And will continue to do. So it's like, it's not exclusive to Genshin, like the Genshin community. So it's like, okay. Like I would have liked to see stuff that, you know, only Genshin players have done. Personally, or preferably. But like again, all these examples they've shown so far are just stuff that, you know, oh, people doing petty crime or creating public safety hazards. Like, I've been to Anime Expo before. I've been through what they call, you know, fire hazards and shit like that. So, I'm just kind of used to that shit. People make bomb threats and death threats all the time online. So, particularly from the Genshin player base. So, yeah, they're just kind of a dime a dozen nowadays, and always have been. So, yeah, I think obviously for your average viewer, the first chapter here was pretty compelling, but to me personally, it's like, it would have been better if, for that first starting chapter, they used examples of like toxicity from the Genshin Impact community that only Genshin players have done. But again, like, I don't know how easy that would have been to do. So, to be fair, I don't know how they would have like done that first chapter in a way that would have impressed me or made an impression on me. Bomb threat is crazy. It is, yeah, but like, I know you're pretty young, Naruto, but I've been around the block for a while, a little bit longer than you have, and yeah, bomb threats, people make those pretty often. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, it's fucked up, yeah, but like, it's not the first bomb threat I've seen. I mean, hell, my old middle school, not middle school? Was it middle school? No, actually, my old high school had a bomb threat once. So, like, thankfully, I didn't need to have to go through that because I think I was in middle school at the time. But one of our local high schools had a bomb threat, and they had to bring some of the high schoolers over to our middle school to hang out, chill out there for a second, or for a little bit, while they assessed the situation. Thankfully, it wasn't a real bomb; it was a fake threat. But yeah, like, people shouldn't be making bomb threats, obviously, but. Like, if we're going for, like, shock value, obviously that's a big problem. That's a big deal for a lot of people. But for me, like, I've seen these before. Most of them, thankfully, aren't real, and hopefully I never have to go through a real bomb threat. Much less one where, you know, people actually die from it. That would be really fucking bad. That would suck. Thankfully, we haven't had to deal with those things like that yet. But yeah, personally, so far, the first chapter hasn't really made an impression.
For collaboration, players in countries outside of China felt left out, so HoYoverse came up with a plan. On November 25th, 2021, players from the global region finally had the chance to get the Wings of Feasting item from the KFC China collab. By teaming up with Genshin Impact Twitch streamers from around the world, HoYoverse gave out the Wings of Feasting through their new web event called the Adventurers Guild on Twitch. Their plan was to get the player base.
I remember this. I actually participated in this. I gifted subs to some streamer. I forget exactly who it was. And yeah, because of that, I actually do have... Where's my Genshin account? I actually do have that on my Shenhe. It's the wing glider that I use on her. She's the only character that I use these wings on. Otherwise, if I didn't have these, if I didn't have this wing glider, I would be using the cryo one on her. But as a joke, I give her, I have my Shenhe use the Wings of Feasting glider on her as a voice actress joke. So I actually do have that wing glider. Anyways, back
to
to the
support
video.
Twitch streamers. On paper, this was a great move for the community, because players who bought paid subscriptions to selected Twitch streamers could get the Wings of Feasting, while streamers could get more subs. A win-win. But once again, it was too good to be true. While almost everyone loves eating KFC, not everyone loves Twitch streamers. A lot of players were upset that they had to spend money to subscribe to streamers that they'll never watch. But the real problem was what the streamers had to face. Twitch streamer Tectone exposed the contract offered by HoYoverse for them to be an eligible streamer for this event.
It's a 2-week exclusivity contract, which means you can only stream Genshin Impact for 2 weeks, no other games. And here's the thing for payment, $0.
On top of not being paid, Twitch streamers were not allowed to accept other sponsorships or talk negatively about Genshin Impact. Other creators also spoke up against HoYoverse's contract, resurfacing the community's anger toward the company. But amidst the backlash HoYoverse
like the
was
American
facing,
flag there.
innocent content creators were caught in the crossfire. Genshin Impact players flooded Twitter to attack any content creators who accepted the contract.
I saw this part
threatening
on
to
Misu's
unsubscribe
stream.
from them.
There's a lot of people in the Genshin community, smaller Genshin content creators, who reached out to me via Discord, Twitter DM, and they said that they are very anxious about this. And that they're terrified that they accepted the program, right? And they're terrified about what's to come because of how Genshin community retaliated towards this.
In the end, the Adventurers Guild on Twitch event divided the community instead of bringing them together. HoYoverse never responded to the backlash from this event, while streamers suffered the wrath of angry Genshin Impact players. Sadly, this isn't the only time that innocent creators had to pay the price for
So specifically about that wing glider event, I'm gonna be honest. Maybe it's just that I didn't watch enough Genshin creators. I didn't get that feeling at all. I didn't get the vibe that there was like a schism in the online Genshin community about, you know, about this whole wing glider thing, about the whole whatever that wing glider is called, Wings of Feasting, whatever. Obviously the contract, the terms of the streamers' contracts, yeah, that's fucked up. And I don't like that. I wouldn't have to, if I were a big streamer back then or a big content creator back then, yeah, I would have said no to that contract. I would just told Mihoyo to go fuck themselves. But at the same time, like, I kind of see where they were coming with that, because, like, yeah, you don't make any, like, Mihoyo's not going to give you any money because the intention was you make money from those gifted subs, right? That was their intention. So I can kind of see where they're coming with that. No sponsors. While it's fucked up. Again, I get that too, because it's a 2-week exclusivity contract. Like, we've seen exclusivity contracts before. Like, this should be nothing new. And yeah. Yeah, while personally I wouldn't have taken that sort of deal myself, like, as far as, like, the terms go, like, nothing is, like, egregious here. Like, as normal viewers, yeah, that sounds like shit. But, like, I've seen terms of service that are far worse than that, bro. Especially sponsorship deals that are way worse than that. So, like, that doesn't really, like, bother me too much, other than, you know, my own personal biases against that. What else? Oh yeah, back to my original point about the there being, like, a schism in the community. Yeah, I never got that vibe. Again, maybe it's because I didn't watch enough Genshin streamers back then when that event was happening. But yeah, like, I didn't see much of that. I would have liked this dude, whatever this channel is, whoever this dude's name is. I would have liked him to show, like, specific examples of, like, people being super negative towards streamers as a result of this event. Like, he was able to give like, specific clips, right? Specific clips or tweets of content creators, right? Speaking out about this event. The clip from Tectone's stream, Enviosity talking about it, or whoever that was. So, yeah, it's kind of strange how this dude didn't give any actual examples of, you know, people being super toxic towards streamers. Maybe it's because he just didn't have access to their VODs anymore, which I would assume would be the case. Because if he did have access to a lot of these smaller streamers' VODs of people coming in and, you know, talking shit to them about, you know, taking this contract or whatever, then yeah, he probably would have been able to get some like actual evidence. But yeah, it would have been nice to see some, like, actual like live chat footage, or like VOD footage at least, of people who came in to, like, Genshin streamers and started talking shit about how, oh, you took this contract, how dare you, blah blah blah. So, small little criticism there.
Hoyoverse's actions, the consequences of being a voice actor.
How many views does this video have? Almost 1 million. It's quite a, yeah. This video did very, very well.
So far, Hoyoverse's ambitious ideas led to real-world mayhem. But unlike the frenzy of Genshin fans at KFC, there's another service that delivers harmony with every meal: Cook Unity. Cook Unity is the first chef-to-you meal delivery service, made up of over 70 chefs who believe that great food should be for everyone, especially for you guys who spend a majority of your time working on the computer. Every week, award-winning chefs craft hundreds of globally inspired meals, and they're always delivered fresh, never frozen. And I can attest to that because when I opened the box, the meals look incredible.
What are we watching? A video that somebody in chat wanted me to watch.
Unity chefs offer meals with over 7 dietary preference filters, including vegan, paleo, and gluten-free options.
Oh, this is a sponsor
menu
segment?
Rotates every week, so there's always something new to try. So this one is Anjali's career. Anjali kept auditioning for more impact and became his career. Started out, Anjali got into. Thank you to Cook Unity for sponsoring this video. This is Anjali. Anjali got into voice acting in their teens. Like a lot of voice actors, Anjali's career started out with minor roles in different films and games. In 2021, Anjali auditioned for Genshin Impact and became
I assume this is the voice actor death threats
in the game. But as Genshin Impact grew with more updates, so too did Anjali's career. Anjali kept auditioning for more roles in the game and eventually landed the opportunity to voice Dory, a character for Genshin Impact's Sumeru expansion. What originally felt like a dream come true, Anjali soon discovered that it would turn into a nightmare. What was supposed to be a new character's exciting announcement ended up to be a mob of upset players over the casting of Dory. The new map drew strong inspiration from South Asian and Middle Eastern cultures, leading some players to accuse Hoyoverse of engaging in cultural appropriation. Anjali faced criticism merely for providing the voice of one of the characters. After announcing that they were the voice of Dory, Anjali received inappropriate messages from angry players. At first, Anjali ignored these messages by blocking them, but as the hate grew, they had to turn off DMs. Anjali's story is just one of the many incidents where the Genshin Impact community directed their hate towards the voice actors. Zach Aguilar, the voice of Ether in Genshin Impact, called out players over the repeated harassment the voice actors got on Twitter after he hosted an official Genshin Impact live stream. The poor treatment Genshin Impact voice actors get from the community isn't exclusive to the English dub. Gui Niang, who voiced Kokomi in the Chinese dub of Genshin Impact, had to restrict her live stream because players were unhappy about the character she voiced.
Some losers, some actual degenerates, went out of their way to harass the voice
Unpopular.
actors, the Chinese voice
If only
actors
they
for
knew.
the character, and end up having her like shut down harassment on her live stream.
Even though all the complaints come from a vocal minority, it paints a bad picture for the entire Genshin Impact community.
This ruins the experience for not only people who aren't toxic, but also voice actors themselves. They'll see what's been happening to voice actors throughout the years, and they won't want to voice act in Genshin Impact simply because they don't want to get attacked and harassed by a community when they've done nothing wrong.
In the end, Genshin Impact players attacking voice actors is just a symptom of a major problem brewing between the community and Hoyoverse, the company behind the game. In our next chapter...
No. That's a bad take. That's a hard L. Nah. Yes, there are tensions that will brew up between the player base and Genshin Impact. But using harassment against voice actors as like proof of that, I don't think so, man. Nah. I'm not saying it's not a problem, obviously. It absolutely is, and Hoyoverse should probably do something about it. We'll see if they ever do. But no. Nah, that's an actual bad take. And let me try to explain why. I've mentioned this before in previous videos. I've elaborated on this before. But the bigger your community is, the more fucking asshats and assholes and motherfuckers you're gonna have in those in these communities. That's just how it goes. The more people you have, the more chances that you're gonna get of some loser or having some losers or some just really rotten apples in your community. And we all heard of the saying that, you know, one bad apple ruins the entire barrel, that sort of stuff. This is just a classic case of that. We all know how huge Genshin is. So why are we so surprised that that there are so many people who are fucking toxic? Like, why are we surprised by this? The larger your game is, or the larger your community is, the more bad apples you are just going to have. That's just how it is. That's just how things are. Pitting this on MiHoYo is not really fair to them. As much as I don't really like sounding like a corporate shill, I try not to be. But at the same time, I like being as fair as possible. I shit on MiHoYo for a lot of things, but in this case where this dude's trying to pin this on MiHoYo, hell no. That ain't MiHoYo's fault at all. Right? Because that means you're putting the responsibility of like having people like you're putting the responsibility of people who are behaving inappropriately on MiHoYo when MiHoYo didn't do anything wrong. I mean, this dude said himself in this one chapter in the past, like, what, 5 or 10 minutes, right? Why do you demonize voice actors and actresses for things that they didn't even do other than just doing their job? Same thing. You could say the same thing about MiHoYo, man. The fuck did MiHoYo do? It's not like they went out of their way to encourage harassment. All they did was just make the game. And all of a sudden, you're pinning the inappropriate behavior of, like, dipshits online on Hoyoverse as if they're supposed to police this kind of behavior? I mean, to be fair, it would be nice if they said something about it, right? Like, if they came out and said, you know, it did something to defend their talents, that would be nice. But at the end of the day, you can't pin this shit on them. For exactly the same reason, for the exact same logic. So, nah. This dude has a bad take there. I don't agree with that one at all. Dude also said they're a minority, but a vocal minority. Yeah, but to be fair to this dude, yeah, like I said just now, all you need are a few bad apples, and it ruins the whole experience for everybody. So it's not surprising that he's trying to focus on this. It's just that the logic doesn't really check out here. It's kind of hypocritical, if I'm being honest. And again, even like disregarding that, or even if we were to disregard that and go back to my original point that I was trying to make about how just having a bigger community, you're just gonna have more assholes. That's just how it is. So just from that alone, you shouldn't be blaming MiHoYo for any of this shit. This is just people being fucking retarded. That's just what it is. Yeah. It's as simple as that. Just dumb people doing dumb things and doing very inappropriate things. Yeah, obviously they shouldn't have been making death threats or whatever, or harassing voice actors and actresses online. Or doing whatever the fuck, review bombing, whatever they can get their hands on like the iPhone, the iOS store, like the Google Play Store. Yeah, they shouldn't be doing these things. But this is the internet. Like, the internet's been around for long enough for us to know that people are gonna do these fucking things. I do feel bad for, like, for example, Anjali or whatever Dory's EN voice actress's name was. I do feel bad for all the VAs who have had to, deal with this shit. Like, I feel bad for them. I wish it weren't this way. But at the same time, like, this is just how it's going to be, right? This is always how it was gonna be. With how big Genshin with how big Genshin eventually became, yeah, like, you're fucking naive if you thought that this was gonna go any differently. Like, welcome to the internet. People are going to send you death threats for over the dumbest things. So, like, again, I wish it weren't that way. I wish people were a little bit smarter on the internet, but what can you do, man? This is how people are. So no, this last bit about voice actors and actresses and Hoyoverse, nah, bro. I hard disagree with this dude.
You'll find out just how far Hoyoverse goes to control the content in the game. The bubble diaper situation. On August 16th, 2023, Genshin Impact Update 4.0 added the new region of
the underwater censorship.
While the community welcomed the new content with open arms, there was one feature that players found to be very annoying. When you swim underwater in the game, it causes a bubble effect to appear around their character's hips. The effect was noticeable and started to grab the attention of the Genshin Impact community. This effect was known as the bubble diaper. Many claim that its intention was to cover up the rear end of characters, and a lot of players found this to be distracting.
And this ain't just on the female characters, no, this is on the male characters too. Fully dressed, well dressed, not showing anything male characters.
Unlike Western games, Genshin Impact has greater restrictions as a Chinese video game. While Hoyoverse has to follow the rules set by the
there's controversy of this? Yeah, I heard about this.
Chinese Communist Party, their attempt to cover up in Genshin Impact appears to be a lot worse compared to other Chinese video games. With China's video game regulations growing stricter in recent years, players outside of China are worried that they'd also get hit with more rounds of cover-up similar to the bubble diaper incident. But it isn't just graphics. Players realized that their words were being censored too.
It censors tank. I wonder why. Tank? It actually does!
The censorship wasn't just limited to words
I
like
wonder
Taiwan
why that
and
is.
Hong Kong. Even words that are important for in-game communication, like enemies, can't be seen. This list only appears to be growing. A study conducted on 200 different Chinese mobile games revealed over 180,000 blacklisted keywords. However, what truly aggravates the community goes beyond the in-game censorship. It's the persistent feeling that their concerns are constantly overlooked. Genshin Impact's Discord is notorious for silencing players, making it difficult for them to voice their opinions when it comes to problems about the game. Because Hoyoverse hardly addresses the community's complaints, players often use this lack of communication to justify their actions, such as bullying innocent parties, as we've seen with voice actors. But some problems would be bad for Hoyoverse to ignore, because there was one incident that left hundreds of players.
So that was what? He's connecting the he's drawing a connection between Hoyoverse censoring their concerns to things like players harassing voice actors and actresses? Nah, bro. That's another hard L. I'm sure, like, emotionally, people had more drive to go out there and fucking harass people on Twitter, because of their, like, frustrations, whatnot, yeah. But no, other than the whole emotional aspect, nah, man. Kind of feels wrong tying those two things together, because technically these are two very different things. Discord is fucking huge with only a handful of mods. Censoring isn't the same thing as leaving people unheard. Again, yeah, if you have a ton of people, you are going to get toxic ass people in there. Don't know how you went from the bubble diaper situation to the fact that MiHoYo doesn't listen to their player base. No, the overall theme there was censorship. Because both the bubble diaper thing and he likens that to censorship, basically. And then towards the end where MiHoYo doesn't listen to their player base, yeah, censorship, because, you know, MiHoYo doesn't want to hear you guys, or they're not concerned about the you know, feedback of players.
With a permanently damaged game. The hack that destroyed the game. Even though Genshin Impact is mainly a single-player experience, it does have co-op features. Players have the option to enter their friend's world, where they can assist with various tasks like tackling in-game quests and challenges for some engaging gameplay. It's all about shared fun, until August 2023. In what turned into a bleak chapter of Genshin Impact's story, teaming up in co-op mode suddenly became the one thing that you really didn't want to do if you cared about your account. During this period, Chinese players panicked. They realized that in-game objects like treasure chests were permanently missing. Some of these in-game objects were important for story progression, and without them, they couldn't explore the rest of the game. The cause of these disappearing objects could be tied to one playable character, Kaveh. Some players used a third-party software to hack Kaveh, giving him an ability to permanently delete almost anything from the game, even NPCs.
I heard about this
which erupted chaos between players. Chinese and English-speaking players alike took to online platforms, warning everyone not to enable the co-op feature. Once a Kaveh hacker deletes your game files, it's gone for good. Not even reinstalling Genshin Impact would bring it back.
So on the Chinese servers, videos have been going around showing Kaveh deleting stuff like chats, statues, NPCs, etc. While it looks hilarious, repairing or reinstalling your game doesn't fix it.
But even with video clips circulating online, some Genshin Impact players thought that the Kaveh hack was fake. One player even recorded footage of them deleting objects with Nahida, a different character, only to admit later that it was fake. With so much conflicting information spreading around, nobody knew for sure if the Kaveh hack was real or fake, except Hoyoverse. On August 28th, 2023, Genshin Impact's official Reddit account made a post revealing that the Kaveh hack was indeed real. And just a week after videos of the hack circulated online, Hoyoverse quickly fixed the hack. Thankfully, players who were affected by the hack had their accounts restored to normal. Hoyoverse also banned the hackers and are pursuing legal action against them. While we aren't sure what happened to the hackers, it's likely that they'll be punished pretty severely. Lawsuits aren't to be taken lightly, especially with Hoyoverse, because in this next...
What the fuck was the point of that section? So okay, so it was a hack in the game. I heard about this, the Kaveh hack. There was a hack in the game. People did some shit with it. The community tried warning everybody else about it, not to accept invites from random ass people. Just don't do co-op for a while. And yeah, there you have some conflicting information about how, oh, maybe the Kaveh bug is just a fake or whatever, blah blah blah. And then Hoyoverse comes out, confirms that it's real, and then sometime later they fix it. and they restored the accounts of everyone who was affected, it seems like. Okay, so where's the toxicity in this? The fuck was the point of that? Like, it's an interesting anecdote. But how does that... How exactly does that, you know... What the fuck was the point of that segment in this video? Like, have we not played games before where we've had to deal with hackers? Am I the only one? Because, like, bro, I played Combat Arms for 9 years. I had to deal with hackers basically the entire time. Combat Arms was one of the most hacked FPSs back in the day. I mean, shit, bro. What free to play game wasn't hacked back in the day? Fucking spin botters, spin bots, aim bots, you know, fly hackers. You name it, man. Like, hacking is so common in video games. I almost don't even consider it toxicity. It's like, it's just some people decide to ruin other people's days by hacking. Like, that's just how it is. I mean, it's especially fucked up here with how it happened with Kaveh and how you can just straight up delete shit. Like, that, obviously that's not good. That's a pretty fucked up hack. Obviously. But, you know, it would have stayed fucked up if Hoyoverse didn't do anything about it, but apparently they did. Like, they fixed the bug, they fixed the hack, and what is it? They're dealing with the hackers apparently, according to this video, and the people who were affected got their accounts restored. Okay, so everything's fine now. Okay. That was strange. I don't know.
Getting sued by Hoyoverse is comparable to being caught as an enemy spy. The $70,000 fine. We already learned in the previous chapter the Genshin...
Just to bring it to light? Okay, but where's the tie to the whole theme of this video called, you know, the toxic world of Genshin Impact? How exactly was that toxic? Like, that initial hacking part, sure, but apparently it's fixed now? Okay, so... Was there anything else that that segment was meant to accomplish? it just feels weird to bring that up. It's like so far in this video, I'll try not to judge the video because we still have over a little bit half more to go here. But like so far, like everything this video has brought up are just like random shit. Not random, but it's shit that if you got rid of the Genshin Impact player base and you show this video to somebody who didn't know anything about Genshin Impact, like they wouldn't know this is Genshin Impact. This is just like, oh, another random ass game where people are just crazy about and will do crazy shit for or in. Like none of these things so far are unique to Genshin. Like honestly, I've seen these things like in a lot of other places. So I'm not gonna lie, this video is kind of disappointing so far, but again, we still got over half the video left to go.
Limited co-op features, but some players in the community take it far more seriously than multiplayer games. Major updates usually add new characters, so players want to know if it's worth spending premium in-game currency to unlock them. That's why a large portion.
Sounds like more of a documentary slash rant style video rather than like a coherent argument. I guess so. I guess you're right about that. Maybe this video isn't trying to argue anything in particular. It's just that when you title a video called "The Toxic World of Genshin Impact," and you're calling, you know, you're calling a certain player base toxic. Like, usually them's fighting words, you know. Like usually in a video title with that sort of a title, you're trying to argue something. Or like you're trying to convey a message here, and it's not a rant. Like this video is way too well structured to be a rant. Like I rant and ramble a lot of the time. Like what I do are usually rants or rambles or whatever. Like this is not a rant. Yeah. Yeah, that's good. That's a good point, Hannah. Like, this video should have been titled, like, the controversies of Genshin Impact, blah blah blah. But no, it's called the toxic world of Genshin Impact. Like, you should avoid Genshin Impact because it's toxic, that sort of thing. So, yeah, yeah, it's clickbait, but hey, it worked, right? 900,000 views, almost 1 million, pretty soon. So,
the $70,000 fine. We already learned in the previous
when a video essay uses like fancy animations, like really weak points early on, you avoid watching it, like you know, Johnny Harris videos maybe. I still like watching Johnny Harris videos every now and then, but yeah, I get what you mean.
chapter, the Genshin Impact is mainly a single-player experience with limited co-op features. But some players in the community take it far more seriously than multiplayer games. Major updates usually add new characters, so players want to know if it's worth spending premium in-game.
It depends on the topic. Yeah, I think I've heard
That's why a large portion of the community would do everything they can to find out what's happening in the next update. One of these people is Xing Hare, a Chinese Genshin Impact player. In January 2022, he got access to the Genshin Impact version 2.5 private beta test. After signing an NDA, Xing Hare was able to experience all the new features ahead of regular players. Wanting to share his new discoveries, Xing recorded his gameplay and shared it to his friend, but that was a terrible decision that cost him everything. His friend shared the gameplay
I heard
online,
about this too, yeah.
breaching the NDA that Xing signed. Hoyoverse tracked down the source of the footage right back to Xing Hare and sued him for 500,000 Chinese yuan, or about $70,000 US dollars. That's the fine you'd expect for someone caught spying in China. In a post he made online, Xing revealed how betrayed he felt because of his friend. About the leak, I've always been very careful. That friend I've known for years.
And we see this with Yozora Mel.
Trusted him and told him not to spread it to outside sources, but I didn't think that I would get backstabbed today. Xing also revealed that he doesn't have the means to pay the fine worth $70,000. While we aren't sure what happened to him after he made this post, we're sure of one thing. Hoyoverse takes data breaches very seriously. Back in 2021, Hoyoverse made it clear that they weren't messing around, going after 7 players with lawsuits each at around $70,000 US.
Why did you have to remind me? Sorry about that, man.
Unreleased content of the game. And just when the leaks wouldn't stop coming, in October 2022, Hoyoverse suffered a massive data breach. Not only were 36 weeks of upcoming content exposed to the public, but employee information was leaked too, which led many people wondering maybe it didn't take too much effort to actually breach Hoyoverse's security. A 4chan user in June 2023 leaked so much Genshin Impact artwork that the user even insulted Hoyoverse for their incompetence. You are a multi-million company. You could tighten your security. You do not, however. Your company is so open to how easy it is to breach, so it's just a matter of time before somebody creates their own art book. You should.
Apparently, a 4chaner wrote this. I can tell this is fake. A 4chaner would never type like this with proper like grammar and with proper grammar and all that shit and proper like capitalization, all that. Hell no.
Try and get a profit at least. It turns out Hoyoverse's cybersecurity
Not saying that it
has
didn't
been
happen,
a problem
but...
since the very beginning of Genshin Impact. Security options like two-factor authentication weren't available for mobile devices, and on October 19th,
yeah, not even the green
not
text
even
cap.
2 months into the game's release, hackers were able to steal player phone numbers through the Hoyoverse website. This issue was only fixed on November 9th, 2020, but it took them almost an entire year to finally add two-factor authentication in May 2021. Hoyoverse may be taking harsh action against those who leak confidential information, but it's nothing compared to what China would do to Genshin Impact creators who go against them. Because sometimes just making the wrong kind of Genshin Impact videos could land you in prison. 10 years in prison over Genshin Impact.
I'm surprised that there wasn't a break there. We'll keep watching this,
January 18th, 2022, Italian physicist Giorgio Parisi was on the verge of a major milestone in his life. He was about to receive his Nobel Prize from the Italian Senate over a Zoom meeting, but unfortunately, his achievement would never be remembered as an honorable moment, but instead, probably one of the most embarrassing moments in Zoom call history. Somebody managed to hijack the call and played an inappropriate video of Final Fantasy VII's Tifa Lockhart. This moment became a legendary internet meme meme overnight. But what a lot of people don't remember is that seconds before the Zoom hijacker was removed, he played a clip of Zhang Ling from Genshin Impact as well. While Zhang Ling didn't share the same meme status that Tifa did, this might have been for the best, because the animator for the Zhang Ling Not Safe for Work video was about to get into serious trouble. Shirakami, the animator, has a Twitter following
that's
of
why.
over 560,000.
I knew Shirakami.
Rose to online fame with his
I know who
inappropriate
Shirakami is. I've
Genshin
seen his work.
Impact animations.
I heard that he got jailed.
Mysteriously went
but
silent and vanished
yeah.
from the internet on December 12th, 2022.
That's what happened.
It
Now I
wasn't
know.
until 6 months later that his fans would uncover the story behind his sudden disappearance. In July 2023, Shirakami was arrested in China for violating censorship laws. He could potentially face up to 10 years in prison for distributing and profiting off of inappropriate material. His Patreon raked in over 1,830,000 Chinese yuan, or about $250,000 US, which Chinese authorities deemed as unlawful. Shirakami's arrest struck fear in the community of Chinese NSFW creators. Some of them even deleted their accounts, afraid that they would end up the same way. Shirakami's story
I've seen at least a couple of Chinese NSFW artists slash like Koikatsu artists
if you're innocent, just working for Genshin
completely nuke their accounts after Shirakami
For one
disappeared.
unlucky Hoyoverse staff member, her first day on the job was thrown into chaos thanks to the Genshin Impact community.
Another chapter. Yeah, no. Like how are lawsuits toxic? Because I can explain every single one of these. At least I think I can. Yeah, no. Okay, first of all, with Ching Hair, that's what this dude called him. Yeah, if he signed an NDA and he leaked information to his friend, that's not allowed. And yeah, true, if his friend hadn't, backstabbed him, then yeah, he wouldn't have gotten in trouble, but it's a fucking NDA. Oh, so Mihoyo's toxic for going after people who breach NDA? Oh, is that what we're trying to argue right now? So yeah, that's fucking stupid. I don't feel like I need to elaborate on that. That was pointless. So yeah, play stupid games, win stupid prizes. So yeah, get fucked. What else? Like, leakers? How is that toxic? People leak shit all the time. Like, Genshin is a huge game. Of course people want to fucking leak shit all the time. People do it for fucking clout on Twitter. They've been doing it for 3 years. They're gonna keep doing it. Yeah, one Chinese motherfucker got fined 78K? Like, who the fuck cares? At least not, maybe the Chinese leakers do. Because it's China. But Western leakers, we don't give a fuck. They don't give a fuck. They're gonna keep doing it. Like, leaking shit is toxic? I mean, it is, in a sense. But, again, how is this any different from when people leak shit from anywhere else? Alright, next fucking lawsuit thing. Oh yeah, and then the NSFW one. So, it's unfortunate that Shirakami, since I've seen some of his work, yeah, it sucks that this shit happened to him. Yeah, but I don't know if you guys know this, chat. I don't know if you guys are aware, but this is mainland China we're talking about. So yeah. Like, it sucks that this happened to Shirakami. But it's how it is in mainland China. Right? Like, China's security, like their well, I shouldn't even call it security, but like their how do I just basically their surveillance, right? It's really fucking good. right? If you get your face fucking ID'd and implemented into their national security database, they will find you. Like, they'll probably know who you are. Most likely. Not even probably, most likely. Yeah. China is an information state, people. So, yeah. You got fucked. Like, it sucks, but, like, that's kind of what happens. It's kind of understandable that this happened to him. Because people, as soon as people saw that, NSFW clip of Xiangling or whatever, yeah, they were probably able to trace it immediately back to him. So, yeah, that does not surprise me at all. I heard about this incident back when it happened. I didn't know how. And I didn't realize that it was actually tied to the whole Tifa thing. Because I never watched that clip myself, obviously. Otherwise, I would definitely know. But yeah, it sucks to hear that this is how it went down. But at the same time, man, it's China. That's all I can say. It's motherfucking China. China.
The worst job ever. We've already revealed earlier in this video that Hoyoverse is infamous for not responding to their player base.
Yeah, it's a bigger problem with China's overall censorship laws, yeah. And like the whole like upholding public morale sort of thing.
What if
or
you had the
public decency or public morals sort of thing?
Power to change that? Janice rose to the opportunity to do just that. After 5 years of working at Bandai Namco Entertainment Asia as their social media and PR manager, Janice made a major career move. On September 28, 2021, she joined Hoyoverse as their new global PR manager.
Yeah, nothing can go wrong with this.
On the first day of her job, Janice had to deal with gaming's worst PR disaster of all time, Genshin Impact's first anniversary event. For the Genshin Impact
nothing can go wrong with
community,
this.
the anniversary event was the final straw that broke the camel's back. Throughout the year, Hoyoverse responded with silence whenever the community aired their frustrations toward earlier updates. So when the anniversary event was revealed and it offered players little to no changes, they were more upset than ever.
You didn't realize that distributing not safe for work content whatsoever is illegal. So you have to understand, maybe in the recent past, maybe the CCP kind of like turned a blind eye to it, because you have to remember that back when Deng Xiaoping was in power, right? Deng Xiaoping was advocating like reform and opening up China to the rest of the world, right? To basically make economic progress, and boy did that work, right? But in the recent political atmosphere under Xi Jinping, given how what direction his government is going, oh yeah, no, you don't have those sorts of freedoms anymore. At the very least, not to the same extent that you may have used to have, like Chinese people used to have had back in the day, like before Xi Jinping came to power. No, they are steering super hard to the left now, and they have been for like the past like decade pretty much, ever since Xi Jinping was in power. It's just they've just kind of accelerated that progress really, really fast in the past couple of years, though, is the thing. And guess when Genshin Impact came out, so yeah, I would not be surprised if if it were actually against the fucking law to make NSFW content at all in mainland China. Like shit, bro, they're trying to restrict fucking video games of all things. So yeah, you can imagine what kind of how they treat porn, basically. So worst part is there's a lot of NSFW artists in China too. Oh yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, China's a big place, lots of people. So yeah, obviously there's going to be a lot of NSFW artists there. Guess what? They're fucked if they get found out. So unfortunately for them, they kind of have to be super low key, right? Delete their shit, stop doing NSFW stuff, or if they want to keep doing it, go super underground, stuff like that. Because, yeah, they see what happened to Shirakami. They don't want to go to fucking jail. So, yeah. It's going to suck for them. until things change, and honestly, I don't think they will. Not for a while. Yeah, quite an accurate assessment on freedom in China. I try to keep up to date with like geopolitical stuff in regards to China. So I have a little bit more of a nuanced understanding of what's going on there, compared to the vast majority of Genshin Impact content creators, at least. So, yeah, I understand. I'm familiar with a lot of the things that are going on over there. Obviously, I'm not native Chinese. I'm still a Westerner, so I'm still just one dude outside looking in. So obviously there will be details that I miss, all everywhere. But as far as like the general picture goes, I think I'm pretty confident. It sucks, man, obviously. But that's just how it is. Is that toxic? Well, I suppose so, but I mean, hey, if you want to call the CCP toxic, go right on ahead, because I certainly will.
Whenever the servers go down for maintenance, players are given an average of 300 Primogems as a form of compensation. You are getting more Primogems here compared to the rewards of the game's 1-year anniversary.
The anniversary offered 100 Primogems, the game's premium currency, if they took part
Really start
in
at
a
the wrong
social
place at
media
the wrong
event.
time.
Clearly,
Yeah.
this wasn't even given freely in-game, and it's not what the community wanted. Once again, HoYoverse ignored the player base's disappointment toward the anniversary. But this time, the players fought back. Janice suddenly found herself dealing with the biggest protest in Genshin history. From 4.6 stars on the Google Play Store to 1.9 stars, Genshin Impact was getting review bombed.
I mean, good grief, look at all the negative reviews they've had over this anniversary event. And that's the crazy thing about it, it's so absurd.
But it didn't stop
No,
there.
it's not.
Not only were players giving 1-star reviews to HoYoverse's other games, but even random apps like Google Classroom were left with angry reviews putting the blame on Genshin Impact. On platforms like Discord, mods were dealing with criticism of the anniversary event, which made the community push even further by spamming the Discord server, flooding every channel with stickers. Janice wasn't just forced to clean up the mess from this anniversary event, it was the aftermath of HoYoverse's lack of communication throughout the year. As one Redditor puts it, it's not the lack of rewards, it's the silence. Genshin Impact's community really crossed the line when Janice, on the first day of her job, became a target for the players as well. Comments on the article congratulating Janice for joining HoYoverse had to be locked due to all the negative comments. Even the article itself was removed. In the end, the backlash was too much for HoYoverse to handle. The company gave in and broke the silence.
Yeah, I know,
promising
420.
more rewards for the players. But at this point, it was too late. The community felt like these new rewards weren't given out for the anniversary, but were given out for damage control. Because of her experience at HoYoverse, Janice left the company. For many, working at a big game studio like HoYoverse can be seen as a badge of honor. But for Janice, it doesn't seem like she associates herself with the company, having removed any mention of it from her LinkedIn profile. Even after leaving HoYoverse, the awful things that Janice had to deal with as their PR manager seemed to have caused her to take a break from the gaming industry. But the horrible messages she received from the community are nothing compared to the cruel acts capable of some Genshin Impact players. Because a few of
Okay, we're about to start a new chapter. So we're talking about the first anniversary incident now, huh? Putting aside the unfortunate timing of Miss Janice here, obviously that this shit sucks. I'm very sorry that she had to go through this at the time that she did. Worst timing ever, basically. This is another thing that I've elaborated before, but I'll go into again as many times as I need to. Oh boy, this shit again. First anniversary stuff. So, what you have to understand is there is this thing that I like to call, or Genshin has this thing that I like to call top gacha privilege. The gacha game that used to have before Genshin was a gacha game that I play, the first one that I played, called FGO, Fate Grand Order. Because before Genshin Impact, Fate Grand Order was, I think, the biggest gacha game in the world, either the biggest or one of the biggest at least. Yeah, let's just go with one of the biggest. It certainly had this top gacha privilege thing that I'm talking about. So, yeah, I think FGO is still a decent example here. So you can think of top gacha privilege as sort of, it's kind of like like an economic monopoly, right? An economic monopoly is, you know, when one company or whatever, one studio, one company, one corporation, right, has has like a singular control over the entire market for like a certain product or something like that, right? Something like that. I'm not an economist. I'm sure my definition of monopoly could still use some work, but you know, hopefully you guys would know what I mean, right? So top gacha privilege is sort of similar to that, where while you don't really have, like, obviously you don't have control of the entire gacha market, right? Because obviously there's a ton of other great gacha games out there. Like, you are the biggest, and so as a result, because you are the biggest, because you are the most popular, and because usually your game is one of a kind, and there's no other gacha games like it, right? If you want to play that one gacha game, you play that gacha game. You don't play something else. You play that, right? It first started with FGO. Now it's moved on to Genshin. So in the case of Genshin, there is no other gacha game like it. At the very least, there was nothing like it for the first like year or so, until like maybe Tower of Fantasy came out. But you know, Tower of Fantasy, Omega lol. So like, sure, like you could play other like Genshin clones, Genshin likes. I'm gonna call them Genshin clones. Like Tower of Fantasy, for example. Now we're slowly starting to get more, like Enfield and Wuthering Waves and whatnot. I'm sure more to come in the future, but Genshin is so high quality. Like, even if you play these other Genshin clones, it's not the same as playing Genshin. So because of that, right? Because there are no other games like Genshin, the devs know in their hearts that they can do whatever the fuck they want in terms of like development progress, right? What kind of direction they want to take the game, how they want to manage the game, everything. They can do whatever they want, right? It's especially true at Genshin because Genshin Impact has managed to do something that no other gacha game has ever been able to do. Ever. Not even after Genshin came out. And that is tap the absolute casual market. Like, we're not even talking about, oh, I'm casual, you know, I play Genshin Impact every day, but I'm pretty casual, I'm pretty free to play, stuff like that. No, we're talking about people, I mentioned this earlier in stream, but we're talking about people who literally do not play video games, right? Genshin Impact is the only video game that they play, ever. Like, these are straight up normies. They managed to capture the normie market. Like, normie people who aren't glued to their computers or their phones 24/7. Like, people we would consider to have actual fucking lives. Genshin Impact has managed to capture those kinds of people. And again, this is something that no other gacha game has managed to do. At least, not to my knowledge. It's just Genshin. Which is why it's going to be so hard to dethrone Genshin as like the top gacha anymore. It's going to take a long time. And a lot of luck. But that's where we stand. And so, because a shit ton of players who play Genshin Impact are these super fucking casuals, not saying there's anything wrong with it, that's just what they are. But because a lot of Genshin players are super casual, or it's straight up just normie, right? They're not really going to participate in like online discourse like us hardcore players do, or even people who are marginally attached to the Genshin community online. They're not going to participate in, like, you know, on Twitter or whatever. Usually, maybe they'll take a look at Twitter every once in a while, but you know, like, usually they don't really care. They just see Genshin Impact as like this fun little side thing that they like to do because it has cute characters and anime, blah blah blah. Right, and remember, Genshin Impact came out during the height of the pandemic, so when a lot of normies were, you know, quarantining, hey, look, there's this like, you know, pretty cool looking anime game that they can play, and it looks pretty cool. It reminds them of what is it, Breath of the Wild, right? So it's like, shit, bro, we'll play that, and they start playing. It's pretty fun, and they stick with it because it's just that fun, right? So that's their audience. That's their core audience that they're working with. Us hardcore players, the people who actually have a vested interest in seeing, in playing Genshin Impact, seeing it progress, seeing it develop, sticking through it with until the very end, you know, assuming that's your mentality towards this game, we are the exceeding minority. The thing is that the problem that a lot of hardcore Genshin players have is that it doesn't feel that way because Genshin's player base is so fucking big. There's a lot of us to begin with, right? It's like, for example, you know, take China's population of like 1.2, 1.3 billion or however much it is now, right? Like, sure, 1% is a small percentage, right? But what's 1% of 1.3 billion? That's still what's the math on that? That's like 13 million? That's still 13 million. 13 million fucking people. 1% of China's population is still 13 million people or something like that. Like, sure, yeah, it's 1%. It's a very small percentage. But it's still 13 million people. It's the exact same way here with Genshin. Right? Because the Genshin community is so big, even though us hardcore players are the small minority, there's still a shit ton of us. And so to us, it feels like there's a lot of us out there, right? So it's easy for hardcore players or just people who are just invested in Genshin to begin with. Maybe you don't even need to consider yourself hardcore, just if you keep up with Genshin news on a regular basis, right? It feels easy. It's very easy to make the mistake of thinking that, oh, like, there's so many of us. Why isn't Hoyoverse listening to us? Because you are the minority. They don't have to fucking listen to you. Because guess who's paying their bills, their salaries? It's the normies who have money. That's who. Not you. Not us hardcore players. I'm sure some of us do play, whale a lot, sure, like me, at least back in the day. But, you know, the average hardcore player doesn't make MiHoYo as much money as your average fucking normie or casual. That's just how it is for this game. So, yeah. No wonder MiHoYo feels like they don't give a shit about whatever the fuck players want to see changed or improved about the game. Especially back in first anniversary, because, you know, the game's only been out for a year. It's still you know, riding high on their initial surge of in popularity, right? Like, you ever wonder why MiHoYo is only kind of starting to improve Genshin a little bit, bit by bit, now that we're 3 years in? It's because they know, obviously, they've already made a couple of the gacha games, so they obviously know this. But when you've got a game going, you know, for a couple of years, people slowly start losing interest, right? You slowly start bleeding off players. That's just normal. That's just how it is for anything, really, games especially, right? It's super popular when it first comes out, so everybody wants to play it when it's hot. But, you know, the longer it sticks around, the more it cools off, and more people, you know, leave that game to go play something else. And then, you know, occasionally it'll come back whenever it gets, like, new updates and whatever, right? But, yeah. Usually over the course of, over time, more and more people stop playing, you know, whatever game. In this case, excuse me. In this case, Genshin. So yeah, that's top gacha privilege in action here. Yeah, because Genshin Impact is the only game of its kind, realistically. And the core audience of Genshin Impact, or at least the ones who make MiHoYo the most amount of money, they have no vested interest in, like, the actual future of the game. Because, again, they're normies. And so this is why this first anniversary shit happened. MiHoYo thought that they could just get away with this being just yet another, you know, not yet another, but they thought they could get away with not having to do anything for their first anniversary. I mean, technically, they still don't, realistically, right? They still don't. I mean, they give us some stuff, but, like, yeah, Genshin has, like, can you even say Genshin really has an anniversary event? Not really, because, again, they don't need to. It doesn't make them it doesn't make them any money being nice to their own players, because why would they? Have you guys noticed that Hoyo's JP tweets get more likes than EN tweets do? Generally speaking, I would attribute that to like a cultural difference. That and Japanese players are a lot more they're a lot more enthusiastic about like social media engagement and whatnot. But I'm probably generalizing there. To be fair, Genshin's Douyin account went down by 1.4 million. Yeah, I did see that. Yeah. Yeah. So it's whatever's going on in China right now is basically yeah, a repeat of EN first anniversary, which is fucking hilarious, but you know. Wasn't there like a stat like 10% of Japan's population plays FGO or something like that? Probably. I haven't seen that myself personally, but yeah, land yeah, I'm aware. A lot of people in China are still poor despite what the CCP claims. Yeah. It's only really in the super like tier 1, tier 2 metropolitan cities, like you said, Shanghai, Guangzhou, Beijing, yeah. That's where a lot of their you know, players are. A lot of China is still, you know, rural, agricultural farmers. Can I ask you a question? Do you think MiHoYo uses their CC content creators? I assume you mean content creators as a riot shield to hide against backlash? I don't think it's intentional. Admittedly, it may seem like that from time to time. But honestly, no. I don't think they intentionally do that. Because why would they? They don't care about. Generally speaking, they don't care about their content creators. And I'm not saying that to like demonize MiHoYo even. That's just strictly business. Like Genshin Impact is way too big of a game for MiHoYo to like actually like legitimately care about like content creators that they sign up with, right? And guarantee you, like, whenever content creators, like, sign up for, like, sponsorships to do, like, sponsored streams for Genshin, they're not even talking with MiHoYo themselves. They're probably talking with, like, some fucking third-party, like, agency that kind of, like, organizes these, sponsored streams, like, sponsored content, segments on behalf of MiHoYo. So, no. If I were to answering honestly, no, I don't think MiHoYo uses like content creators as like, yeah, as you said, shields against community backlash, because frankly they don't need to. They don't care. At least for the most part. At least for sure not out here in the West or like overseas. China is a different story though, as you guys may be hearing on Twitter. Yeah. Pissing off overseas fans is one thing because MiHoYo can largely ignore them. Largely. They don't really need to care. But they should not, at any cost, piss off the Chinese players. Because, guess what? They live on the same fucking continent as them. So, yeah. But, in any case, just to wrap up this segment, because we have one more segment to go over, which I'm sure is very exhilarating. Yeah. Genshin is what I like to call has what I like to call top gacha privilege. Basically, in a nutshell, they get to do whatever they want, and that means that if it doesn't make them any money, fuck you. They had that privilege to ignore. Yeah, exactly. They can do whatever they want, whether or not you know, whatever they do is in your interest or not, they don't care. They'll just keep doing whatever they want. And usually, you know, I advocate for, you know, the freedom of developers to take their game and whatever they want. But, you know, and I still advocate for that for MiHoYo. Like, they should take their game in whatever direction they want. But yeah. The fact that the fact that Genshin, like, since you guys know that I play a ton of gacha games, right? The fact that most of my gacha games that I play, or most of the gacha games that I play, they all have some kind of anniversary event. Anniversary is one of the, you know, the biggest events of any gacha game, right? Because it's when the fucking game launched. So yeah, there should be reason to celebrate it, right? It's like celebrating your guys' birthdays. You should want to celebrate your birthday. It should be a momentous occasion. So that kind of holds true for gacha games, because gacha games have a special place in a lot of people's hearts. A lot of gacha players' hearts. Considering these are gacha games, right? So yeah. Like I like, as horrific as the first anniversary like debacle was here for Genshin, like I kind of understand why they went ballistic. And, you know, I kind of like, I'm not really surprised by the damage, right? The sheer shit show that it started. Because again, it's the Genshin community. It's huge. So the consequences were more or less what I kind of expected. Sucks that it had to happen that way, or it sucks that it had to happen at all, but, you know. Maybe one day MiHoYo will learn and actually fucking host a real anniversary event. Maybe. Maybe the Chinese players right now will actually teach MiHoYo some sort of a lesson then. Because we can't do it. Because again, MiHoYo does not give a shit about whatever overseas fans, players have to say. The only ones who can convince MiHoYo to change what they're doing are the Chinese players. And even then, I mentioned this at the beginning of the stream when somebody first brought up that topic or that issue. In my honest opinion, this one solitary event won't do it. It needs to happen again. Like, I hope it doesn't, but it has to happen again. Because that's when MiHoYo will realize, oh shit, we haven't fit it. This isn't something we can ignore anymore. I mean, technically, the shit going on in China right now, in regards to MiHoYo, they can't really ignore that to begin with. But this is not something like, if it happens again, it's no longer something they can just kind of sweep under the rug. They have to deal with it. They have to address it somehow. Because if they lose their Chinese player base, what else did they have? I mean, of course, they had their overseas player bases, of course, but yeah, no. If they lose their Chinese player base, like, that's it, dunzo. They can't remember. They can't afford to lose them. I mean, have you counted how many gachas that I play are Chinese, Japanese, Korean? 2 Korean games, 1 Japanese, and the rest of them are Chinese.
A diehard fan's dreadful behavior. In our last chapter, you saw what happened when a company was completely out of touch with its players. This time, we're exploring a different angle, when players lose their grip on reality. On July 28th, 2023, a Reddit user named Snoo2612 made a controversial post on the Genshin Impact subreddit. The post talked about the toxic side of the Chinese Genshin Impact community, especially toward one playable character, Wanderer. The user explained how these fans went beyond the game, targeting not just fans of Wanderer, but also the character's voice actor, Lu Yin, during a live event. But it didn't stop there. Wanderer haters even went as far as doxing the writers behind the character. They reported Wanderer to the authorities for being a depiction of a war criminal. Unfortunately for them, both of these attempts ended up failing. When that didn't work, they crossed a serious line on a messaging app called Telegram, where one person shared very upsetting videos involving cats. So I can't go into full detail on YouTube, but since they were associated,
in case you don't know what he's talking about here, the videos involve cats basically getting maimed and killed, something like that. Basically, murder of cats. Very graphic stuff.
In-game cat form. What I can say is that the cats sadly didn't survive. This was a harsh reminder of how intense fandoms can negatively spill over into reality. According to the Reddit user, the motivation behind these awful acts is simply because they don't like the Wanderer character.
Many Chinese male players see him as a real enemy and not a fictional enemy. They are offended by his attitude. His talking pisses them off. The CN players are used to being flattered in a game world, so they can't tolerate a brat.
For them, doing everything they can to ruin real lives.
There's also a political edge to this. Obviously, we know Scaramouche is Inazuman, or Japanese, and there was certainly a political edge to that because, unfortunately, the Xi Jinping administration in China right now, the CCP, has been pushing very like anti-Japanese propaganda for their, you know, to the Chinese population. Yeah. So like if you search up on YouTube, you can probably find clips of, you know, that shit going on. So it's not just that some Chinese players saw him as like insufferable, but he's also Japanese. So I don't think I need to go into further detail about that, but I can if you want me to.
Over Wanderer is apparently sending a message to Hoyo.
Why do CN players hate him? Well, apparently, according to this video, they don't like how he behaves. Yeah. Something like that. Yeah, they just don't like him.
When Snoo2612 made this post on Reddit, it was met with skepticism. Some Reddit users thought that there was no way the bad apples in the Chinese Genshin Impact community could be this toxic, but they were quickly proven wrong. Another Reddit user discovered that Snoo2612 was doxxed on Chinese forums after exposing the Wanderer controversy. Wanderer haters were calling Snoo a traitor to China and claimed that they found
here's the
Reddit
political edge.
user's real name. Snoo ended up making an update to their original post. In the update, Snoo apologized to Wanderer fans for making the Reddit post. Additionally,
Yeah,
they
this is
asked
the classic,
those engaging in doxing to refrain from targeting the woman in Snoo's Twitter profile, clarifying that it was not a photo of himself. It's hard to believe why some people would commit such disgusting acts over a fictional character. It may be just a small minority of the player base, but hopefully this is the darkest the Genshin Impact community gets. Video games are meant to be fun. There might be some things that we're not happy about, but there's never any justification to hurt others. Our voices matter, but we have to communicate them in the same way we'd want others to listen to us, because two wrongs don't make a right. Visual Venture. Wait, before you go...
Nah, fuck you. Other than being able to explain like various stuff about what this video covered as far as like the history of Genshin Impact's concerned, that was a fucking waste of 30 minutes. I thought there was actually some substance to this, but nah, it's just clickbait. Kind of feel like I want my past, hour back, or however much time we spent watching this fucking video. So that was disappointing. This video kind of reeks of some dude who has never played Genshin Impact and wants to make some sort of viral video, basically documenting the history of this game, like the negative history of this game. And while it's not nothing, while it's not like, there's no value in that, I would much prefer personally, like Hannah said in Twitch chat, I would much prefer personally if instead of titling this video the toxic world of Genshin Impact, it would be better off, this video is much better off being titled something like, a history of drama in the Genshin Impact community or something like that, because that will be a far more accurate title of this video. Thanks for watching with us too. I guess you're welcome. But yeah, no, like this dude is a normie, one of those normies that I talked about. I guess maybe he might play Genshin Impact. He might, yeah. But like, I mean, he's obviously familiar with it, and he has done his research. It's a well-produced video, but as far as like the substance goes in relation to its title and like the kind of connotations and connotations and like what the kind of messages it seems like it's trying to convey, nah, bro. The worst thing about this video, is the fact that this is just ammunition that Genshin detractors are gonna use to show other people, right? Oh, this is proof that Genshin Impact is such a bad game. You shouldn't play it. Like, that's gonna fucking drive me up a fucking wall. That's actually what annoys me the most about this video, is the fact that I know for a fact, for the month that it's been out, people who don't like Genshin Impact for whatever reason are going to use this video as evidence that, oh, this Genshin is bad, don't play it. And even worse, ironically, even worse, it's going to encourage people who don't like Genshin to be toxic towards people who play Genshin or enjoy Genshin. I think that's the most bitter irony about this video. It's about the toxic world of Genshin Impact, and at the end, obviously, this visual venture dude, warns you not to do these kinds of things, and he says hopefully these things don't happen, but the cruel irony, the bitter irony of this is that it's just going to generate even more toxicity. By giving, anti-Genshin people who don't like Genshin, people who hate Genshin, like, something to show, something to show other people, like people who don't play Genshin are like kind of like curious about it, right? Oh, have you ever heard this game called Genshin Impact? They're gonna show this video to them and be like, no, you should play Genshin Impact, man. It's a bad game. It's got a shitty community. Blah blah blah. And so yeah, these are people who will never play Genshin ever again because they see this stupid fucking video about some dude documenting the negative side of the community, and then they're just like, yeah, maybe I won't try Genshin now. Like, okay, you've changed my mind. I'm not gonna touch it. I mean, to be fair, even if this video were titled, the history of, even if it were titled differently, it still would have done the same thing. But at the very least, with a different title, I wouldn't have a reason to accuse it of having trying to have an ulterior motive, which is almost what it feels like. I'll give this dude the benefit of the doubt that that wasn't his intention. I do think that this is more like, blissful ignorance. He clearly didn't think about the implications of his video title here. But as somebody who's spent the last 6.5 years of his life, or wasted the last 6.5 years of his life on stupid fucking gacha games, and more familiar with it than clearly he is, yeah, no, this video was a complete fucking waste of time. Everything he mentioned in this video, basically everything, yeah. Unless there's something that I'm forgetting, which I don't think I am. Everything in this video is just shit that other communities are perfectly capable of and have done before. Again, if you were to remove the name of Genshin Impact and show this video to somebody who who has no clue what Genshin Impact is, they would have thought this could have been any game. And guess what? Every player base is fucking toxic. And you can't get around that. It's just that Genshin Impact is an easy target to pick for citing examples of, toxicity and toxicity and shit like that. Yeah, it's just such an easy target because it's fucking huge. That's literally it. All this shit that you see here, this could very well happen in other gacha games or other just fandoms in general, right? Even me right now is toxic right now over a video. Bro, grow up. Ironic hearing that from a fucking Twitch chatter. Sure, okay. You are right that I'm being toxic, but hey, unlike this dude, I'm not shy about being toxic. And I know why I'm being toxic. All of his videos are like this. Yeah, we went over that earlier too. Yeah, this dude kind of makes videos in this style. Again, kind of like Johnny Harris. Yeah, a lot of YouTubers out there have this sort of style. Yeah, it's more for entertainment purposes and whatnot. But again, this can be taken so out of context. And my worry is that it will be, and I'm sure it has been. Also, I do want to point out that toxicity is not quite the same as constructive criticism. Because I have given this dude suggestions on how to make the video better. For one, suggesting he rename his title, so that way it doesn't feel like he's trying to convey something inappropriate, or convey something that I think it shouldn't be conveying. Even if at the end of the day it won't really make a difference. He doesn't even have a real point. I mean, to be fair, he doesn't have to make one. Because again, the title of this video is The Toxic World of Genshin Impact, so that the video kind of speaks for itself. But yeah. My biggest problem is like, how is this any different from anything else that any other community can do? Or has done? I'm just a little bit confused. Like, so far, throughout this video, all I've seen is like a documentary on like the history of like the biggest Genshin Impact dramas, which is fine. I mean, as a history major myself, I do appreciate when people go through the effort of like documenting stuff like this, right? So that way future generations have a way to, learn about what happened in the past, especially online, like internet history as well. But I don't know. It does kind of, like, the shock value of this video doesn't really hit as hard for me anyway, because of a lot of these things I've already heard about. Matter of fact, I've heard about all of these. I don't think there was a single one that that I wasn't already aware of. Maybe except for like the details of the Wing Glider contract, the sponsorship contract. Maybe with the exception of that. So. Like, it would be one thing, let's see. Let's check this dude's channel. Shut the fuck up. Let's see. So he did a video on Minecraft. He did a video on whatever the fuck this game is. Gacha Life? I don't know what that is. And just like kids games in general, I guess, that are quote too disturbing for kids. I think I'll say this. I would respect this video a little bit more had his channel had a lot of other videos that went over like the toxic world of like insert game here. Right. If he made other videos that dealt with and kind of documented and showcased like the negative histories, the dramas, the controversies of like other video games, not just Genshin Impact. But clearly that's not what I'm seeing here. He picked Genshin Impact because it's popular. Because that's why he did. That's why he picked Minecraft right here, the hidden toxicity of Minecraft. And whatever the fuck this is. I guess this one specifically. I don't know what the fuck this is about. Yeah, that's kind of the overall, theme of his videos, right, they deal with the negative side of a lot of different internet or even IRL aspects, right? A lot of internet or IRL functions, which in and of itself is okay. That's fine, right? Free speech and all that. I do believe that as a history major myself, again, I'm always going to bring that up. As a history major myself, I do think it's important to document everything about history, both the good and the bad, right? Use the good as a way to guide your life and make decisions in the future, but use the bad to make sure you know what not to do going forward. That sort of stuff. So that way we can maybe not make the mistakes that our forefathers did. Maybe. Too bad it doesn't happen. It doesn't always happen that way. But yeah, no. Just in general, the big problem that I have with this dude's videos is that he only presents one side of these issues that he's bringing up. And that's it. He just leaves it at that. Like, as a Genshin player, I'll knock him for, him just picking Genshin Impact just because it's popular, but as just a YouTube watcher, or just someone who watches YouTube videos, I don't like the fact that his videos are only ever negative. That's all he does. Doom scroll this, metaverse is about to change your brain that, depression symptom of modern civilization, disturbing truth about TikTok, blah, 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 blah. Like, I get that some channels are like this, and that they focus, they have an overarching theme that they like to focus on. So it makes sense, it's consistent at least. But I'm the type of dude who tries to see all sides of a picture, obviously I'm only human, so I fail at that obviously at times, but at least when it comes to gacha games, I will sit here and give you the pros and cons about, if you ask me, oh, what are the things you like about this game or that game, I'll tell you everything that I like about it or don't like about it. I like to be fair, or at least as fair as I can be. Obviously I'll be biased, so I'm never going to be able to do that perfectly, but personally, I don't really like it when, you have people like this dude, this visual venture dude, making basically what are one-sided commentaries or documentaries on a certain issue, right? Because people are going to look at this video, again, like I mentioned before, people are going to look at this video and think, oh, Genshin's all toxic. Because, again, most people don't have the mental, what's the phrase I'm trying to use here? The mental capacity, the mental stack to sit down and consider, well, maybe this is just a part of the Genshin community. Maybe maybe the all of Genshin isn't like this. No, people generally just think, oh, Genshin bad. Okay, cool. Better stay away from Genshin players then. And while yes, there are a lot of absolutely fucking retarded Genshin players out there, not all of us are that way, right? So the worse Genshin's reputation gets just in general online, and this video certainly did not help that, obviously, that means that whenever I tell people, right, hey, I play Genshin Impact, they're going to remember this video and whatever other preconceptions they have about Genshin as someone who doesn't play it and they've only ever heard about it, and they're going to apply what little they know to me. And so yes, eventually this video will come back and bite me in the ass too, for something that through no fault of my own. Which is something that I think the video even mentioned itself when it was talking about the whole voice actor situation. Ironic. So that's, I think, all I have to say. Hopefully I'm not forgetting anything. Shut the fuck up. Why is there so much green in the thumbnails? Clickbait purposes. I'm sure that shade of green really catches the eye. So. Another video essay is shotgunning contest to content to shoot from. I wouldn't say he's shotgunning it necessarily. What's his video turnout? Like one every 2 weeks? Yeah, it's one video every 2 weeks. So I wouldn't say shotgunning content, because clearly these videos have very high production value. There's no denying that. But yeah, no. Nah. From like an entertainment perspective, this is certainly an entertaining video. If I didn't know anything about Genshin Impact, I probably would have been, pretty intrigued by this video. Problem is, I've been playing Genshin Impact for 3 years. 3.5? A little bit over 3 years. And gacha games in general for over 6.5. So, overall, this video doesn't really do anything for me. More or less a waste of time.